everyone. I am here with a Bible reading. I hope you guys are having a good day. Today we are going to be reading Matthew chapter 26, verses 14 through 46. Continuing on with Psalm 31, verses 19 through 24. And ending today's Bible reading with Proverbs chapter 8, verses 14 through 26. So let's see what we're going to be talking about in Matthew today. Judas agrees to betray Jesus. And wait till you see what he betrays him for. The Last Supper. Jesus predicts Peter's denial, which Peter will deny that he is going to deny Jesus. But Jesus already knows it's going to happen, and he already has forgiven Peter for it. Gethsemane. And that's where we stop. Okay. So let's get started here with Judas betraying Jesus. Judas Iscariot, one of Jesus' disciples. There was two Judases that were in Jesus' 12 disciples. That's why we always say Judas Iscariot, to have, to separate the two. Because there were two Judases. Judas Iscariot, the son of Simon Iscariot, is the one who betrayed Jesus. But it didn't work out as planned for him in the end. Jesus was betrayed, and Jesus happened to Jesus just like was said, but Judas didn't have a good time afterwards. He ended up hanging himself. And his organs spilled out of his stomach, his bowels and stuff. The birds and stuff was eating him. That probably won't be in here, but I don't know. Anyway, let's get started. Then one of the 12, the one called Judas Iscariot, went to the chief priests and asked, "What are you willing to give me if I deliver him over to you?" He delivers Jesus to them. So they counted out for him 30 pieces of silver, which might have been a lot back then. I don't know. Probably was. Because why else would he have done it then? Or maybe, hey, a little bit of money, I'll do it. I'll give up anybody for a little bit of money. I don't know. But 30 pieces of silver for the Son of God. From then on, Judas watched for an opportunity to hand him over. Because for being one of the disciples, he was always with Jesus, so he always knew his schedule, always knew where he was going to be, all the time. On the first day of the festival of unleavened bread, the disciples came to Jesus and asked, "Where do you want us to make preparations for you to eat the Passover?" He replied, "Go into the city to a certain man and tell him, 'The teacher says, my appointed time is near. I am going to celebrate the Passover with my disciples at your house.'" So the disciples did as Jesus had directed them and prepared the Passover. When evening came, Jesus was reclining at the table with the 12, and while they were eating, he said, "Truly I tell you, one of you will betray me." He already knew what was going to happen and who was going to betray him, but it had to still hurt him, He's with these men every day and every night. They're close. They're brothers. They're like brothers. They were very sad and began to say to him, one after the other, "Surely you don't mean me, Lord." Jesus replied, "The one who has dipped his hand into the bowl with me will betray me. The Son of Man will go just as it is written about him. But woe to that man who betrays the Son of Man. It would be better for him if he had not been born." Then Judas, the one who would betray him, said, "Surely you don't mean me, Rabbi." Jesus answered, "You have said so." While they were eating, Jesus took bread, and when he had given thanks, he broke it and gave it to his disciples, saying, "Take and eat, this is my body." Then he took a cup, and when he had given thanks, he gave it to them, saying, "Drink from it, all of you. This is my blood of the new covenant, which is poured out for many for the forgiveness of sins. I tell you, I will not drink from this fruit of the vine from now on until the day when I drink it new with you in my Father's kingdom." Just think what this world would be like if Jesus had not come to earth to do this for us. If God had not sent his Son here and his Son do this for us. Jesus could have said no and just went back up to heaven with God. He didn't have to do it. He wanted to. He wanted to. At any time the angels would have took him back. He wanted to do it. Because God not only loves us, but so does Jesus. Just imagine if they didn't. We have nothing to live for whatsoever. And this world would be a lot worse than it is now. Because the only reason a lot of people are good on this earth is because they know God. I'm not saying everybody, but some people that know God are not good people. They pretend they're hypocrites. And vice versa, you know. Some people that don't know God are the nicest people, which is very sad. It's very sad. Because you want them to know the Lord so much because you're such a great person. I got people in my family like that. Like Jimmy. He doesn't believe. But he was brought up like that. Not by me, but he was brought up that way. He's into science and stuff, you know. And he's the nicest young man you could ever meet. He would do anything for anybody. But you don't know God. You know you have to have a relationship with God to be saved. I think about that so often. You guys could pray for that for me. That Joey turns to the Lord and gets saved. I know he'd get made fun of by certain people that he lives with. Others he wouldn't, but some would. But please put it into his heart, have God put it in his heart, that he is real, and that what those people say don't matter because those people are lost. And he needs to worry about his own soul. I think about that all the time, and we really need to pray for his son. When they had sung a hymn, they went out to the Mount of Olives. Then Jesus told them, "This very night you will all fall away on account of me, for it is written, I will strike the shepherd, and the sheep of the flock will be scattered." So, like, a mob is going to come and, like, hurt Jesus, going to attack Jesus, going to, come after Jesus, and then the disciples are going to flee, is what Jesus is telling them. "But after I have risen, I will go ahead of you into Galilee." Peter replied, "Even if I fall away on account of you, I never will. Even Peter's saying, even if all these fellow disciples fall away, even if they all run, I won't. I'm not leaving you. Truly I tell you, Jesus answered, this very night, Peter, this very night before the rooster crows, you will disown me 3 times. You say you love me and you won't take off like the others, but this very night, before the rooster crows in the morning, you're going to say you don't even know me. And you said yourself you believed I was the Son of God, and now you're going to say you don't even know who I am. But Peter declared, even if I have to die with you, I will never disown you. And all the other disciples said the same. That's why I tell you guys, never. I know all of us do it, but never say anything like that. I know we always do when somebody says, you can't do this, or can you do that, can you do this? Like, yeah, I can do that, or no, I would never do that. Or, yeah, I would have done that too, or I wouldn't have done that. You know what I'm saying? You don't know unless you are in or were in that situation yourself. You don't know what that person has gone through, what they went through, or what they're going to go through. You don't know unless you're in that situation yourself. You can't judge somebody else for being in that situation and doing something that way. That's between them and God. You don't know what you would have done unless you have been through it. What you say you would have done is one thing, but when you experience it, it's something totally different. Talk is one thing, but action is another. Let's go to Gethsemane now. Then Jesus went with his disciples to a place called Gethsemane, and he said to them, sit here while I go over there and pray, which Jesus did often, and more and more, the closer it got time. He took Peter and the 2 sons of Zebedee along with him, and he began to be sorrowful and troubled. Who wouldn't be? Jesus was human. Jesus was human. Who would not be sad and troubled knowing that what was going to happen to them? Of course, he knew he was going to be raised from the dead, but he knew what all the pain and suffering he was about ready to go through. But it did not change his mind. He could have stopped it all right there and said, no, I changed my mind, forget these people, I'm going back to heaven. They ain't worth it. Especially when everybody turned their back on him. But he didn't. He didn't turn his back on us. And he loved his brothers, his friends, just like he loves us. Nothing they said or did turned him away from them. What Peter did, do you think that made Jesus love him less? He knew Peter was going to do it before he even told Peter. And he forgave him before he even told Peter about it, before Peter even did it. He loved Peter, and he knew Peter was just scared. Peter was fearing for his life. That's why Peter said he didn't know Jesus. Just like I said, you don't know unless you're in that situation. And if Peter would have probably acknowledged that he was one of them, that he was with Jesus, he probably would have been killed. Who knows? Okay. So Jesus is very sad and troubled at this time. Then he said to them, my soul is overwhelmed with sorrow to the point of death. Stay here and keep watch with me. He knew people were coming after him. He knew what Judas was doing. He knew it was about to begin. Going a little farther, he fell with his face to the ground and prayed, my Father, if it is possible, may this cup be taken from me, yet not as I will, but as you will. Is going to do what God wanted no matter what. Scared, did it anyway. Then he returned to his disciples and found them sleeping. Couldn't you men keep watch with me for 1 hour? He asked Peter. Watch and pray, so that you will not fall into temptation. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. So very true. So many things that I wished I could do and I want to do, that I really want to do, that I feel like doing. Not at this moment, but you know what I mean. Other times that I feel like doing. I can just picture in my head, I would love to do this and I'm going to do that, but my body will not let me physically do it. And then it makes me so mad because I'm not able to do the things I want to do. And it's some of the littlest, stupidest things that people do every day. It's like, walking. He went away a second time and prayed, My Father, if it is not possible for this cup to be taken away unless I drink it, may your will be done. When he came back, he again found them sleeping because their eyes were heavy. So he left them and went away once more and prayed the third time, saying the same thing. He was getting more and more anxious as he knew Judas and his little posse was coming for him. Then he returned to the disciples and said to them, Are you still sleeping and resting? Look, the hour has come. It was now time. And the Son of Man is delivered into the hands of sinners. Rise, let us go. Here comes my betrayer. Getting ready to get started. And our next Bible reading, we'll get into that, God willing. And God willing, it'll be tomorrow. And I hate reading those parts. You see how they treated Jesus. If they were going to put him to death, why didn't they just put him to death? Why did they have to do all those stupid, horrible things to him? Why did they have to flog him? Why did they have to spit on him? Why did they have to mock him? Why did they have to hit him? Why did they put a crown of thorns on his head? He was covered in blood. Why did they have to do all those things to him? Make fun of him by putting a purple robe on him and just doing all those hateful, disgusting things. Picture them doing that to the loved one that you love most in your life. Whether it's your child or whoever. Because Jesus is your brother. And your Lord. And they've done that to him. To the Son of God, I'm sure they have seen now. I would hate to be them. Can you imagine? I know I say this a lot, but the people, the teachers of the law, the Pharisees, the Sadducees, the high priest that year, all of them, Papias, except for Pilate, because I think he handed him over to be killed, handed Jesus over. But I think he'll be not as guilty. I think he'll be more lenient because he didn't want Jesus to be killed. They just kept screaming for him to be killed, the crowd. Pilate tried to get him off. He didn't want Jesus killed. So he finally just had to give the crowd what they wanted, or did it, So I don't really think God or Jesus are really punished Pilate, or not that much anyway, like the other ones. But the other ones, you can pretty much bet they're probably going to hell. Can you imagine doing that to the Son of God? And all the things they've done to him here on this earth. Before that, wanting to stone him and everything. Trying to trick him in his words, trap him. And then when they arrested him, they flogged him, and spit on him, made fun of him, cast lots for his clothes, hung him on a cross, stabbed him in his side with a spear, all that stuff. And then they die. And who do they see? None other than the Son of God in front of them. That's how they had to have looked. standing there with their mouths open. I would not want to be in that boat. I would not want to be them. Not one of them. Okay, so let's read our song. Psalm 31, verses 19 through 24. How abundant are the good things that you have stored up for those who fear you, that you bestow in the sight of all, on those who take refuge in you. In the shelter of your presence you hid them. From all human intrigues, you keep them safe in your dwelling, from accusing tongues. Praise be to the Lord, for he showed me the wonders of his love when I was in a city under siege. In my alarm I said, I am cut off from your sight. Yet you heard my cry for mercy when I called to you for help. Love the Lord with all his faithful people. The Lord preserves those who are true to him, but the proud he pays back in full. Be strong and take heart, all you who hope in the Lord, because your day will come. I know the wicked are winning now, winning on this earth, but remember, who is the prince of this world? Satan, the devil. He's the prince of this world. That's why the evil people win here on this earth, and the good people have to suffer. Seems like that's what happens, right? The good people always win and get by with things, but the people that are, Christians and things, a lot of bad stuff happens to them. That's because the devil's doing it. But good always wins over evil in the end. Just keep reminding yourself of that. The wicked will not go on winning forever. Okay, we got a lot of Proverbs today. And then some days, when we get farther through it, we'll only have like one a day for the longest times. So let's see, Proverbs chapter 8, verses 14 through 26. Counsel and sound judgment are mine. I have insight, I have power. By me kings reign, and rulers issue decrees that are just. By me princes govern, and nobles all who rule on earth. I love those who love me, and those who seek me find me. With me are riches and honor, enduring wealth and prosperity. My fruit is better than fine gold. I'd like to have some fruit. What I yield surpasses choice silver. I walk in the way of righteousness, along the paths of justice, bestowing a rich inheritance on those who love me, and making their treasures full. The Lord brought me forth as the first of his works, before his deeds of old. I was formed long ages ago, at the very beginning when the world came to be. When there were no watery depths, I was given birth. When there was no springs overflowing with water. Before the mountains were settled in place. Before the hills, I was given birth. Before he made the world or its fields, or any of the dust of the earth. That was a long time ago, wasn't it? A long time ago. I said I want some fruit. Is all the bananas gone? Bananas?
No, no.
Okay. We'll see if we got any bananas left. And I think we ate all the grapes. There's apples left, right? We need to put that mixed fruit in the fridge. Listen to this, guys. They had these, I think it's Dole, fruit bowls or whatever, online, and it's Amazon. Anyway, it was about this big, stackable containers, which I don't care about that, but it was mixed fruit. And all of them said, they come with 6. So I just figured, I couldn't find it on there, but I figured, well, those come with 6 too. They were $7. because, you know, it has to come with 6 for $7. I get it. It come with 1 for $7. One little mixed fruit cup for $7. And then I seen on there, down in the reviews, where some other woman was on there complaining, saying, I thought it came with 6 cups. I didn't know I was paying $7 for 1 fruit cup. Yeah, I wished I would have read that before, because I didn't know I was paying $7 for 1 fruit cup either. That's ridiculous. So be careful ordering stuff, because you do not know. They trick you with those little things. Be careful. Make sure you read it all, and if it don't say, I'd go look somewhere else, or type in something different. Get a different one. That's what I should have done. The fruit salad mixes, I don't remember who makes them. Was it Dole or some Del Monte? I haven't had them in a long time. But the ones they make in the 100% real fruit juice that I like is the ones that's very cherry. It's got a lot of cherries in it because I love the cherries. But I didn't get that kind. This one's just like mixed pears and peaches and things. And then I got a whole jar of little oranges. Because we're not able to get to the store right now, you know, so I have to order some stuff online, and it don't let you order fresh stuff. They don't deliver fresh stuff out here where we are. So I can only order stuff, you know, like that. The apples we got, our neighbor brought over, that's how we got those. And the bananas we got when my aunt was out here and she took Sherm down the road to the grocery store. But it's way too far to walk to. But hopefully Sherm will get to go there again when she comes back out. Because we'll need a few more things by then. Maybe next week sometime, I'd say.
Maybe.
Alright guys, let me go over the prayer requests.
Maybe not.
Because the weather's bad right now. I think we did get the 2.9 inches they said was going to get. And our water was froze, everybody in the buildings. But it's back on now, and I hope it stays on.
Yeah, it was a busted water line.
Who was? How'd you find out? When did you talk to him?
He was down there
When you checked it out?
when I was checking it out.
Busted water line, the
And
manager
I told her,
said.
I told her we had no water, so. Do now.
Huh. I wonder who
water
called him.
line.
I wonder who called him. That was quick. Because they just told us to call him, and there he is. He usually gets right on stuff, usually.
Who knows?
So the water's fixed now. So that's good. But, yeah, we got probably 2.9 inches, like they said. My aunt, Dora, where she lives, up towards, you know, farther up,
Dora the
she got
Explorer.
7 inches up there. That's what it said on the news. And even further up, they got 10. Which I believe, if they didn't get more than that, is where Evan, Chastity, and Claire live, up that way.
Dora the Explorer.
Alright guys, so our prayer requests. Please keep the following people in prayer. Sherm, Layla, and her son Emil, Jimmy. I didn't like what the neurosurgeon had to say. I think he was stupider than the last one. That they went to the farther place to see. This guy did not take Jimmy seriously at all. At all. Jimmy told Mom, I think Mom was in there with him, but Jimmy told Mom, he called me a liar, Grandma. That's pretty much, I went through the same thing before I got diagnosed with my stomach disease. Went through the same thing. You got to keep going till you find the right doctor who will actually take the time to do the right tests and help you. Doctors just say this stupid stuff to people when they don't want to figure out what it is or they don't know what it is. So the next step for Jimmy is they're just going to go to the sinus doctor because he has a lot of trouble with his sinuses as well, which does cause a lot of headaches with those. But they put him on migraine medicine, which Sherm takes as well. Wants him to stop taking the Excedrin for his headaches, which I think is going to make it a lot worse. And let's see, the sinus doctor should be getting a scan of his head